Next, I'd like to invite up Carolyn Peters, who is the mayor of Clinton, Illinois. Mayor?
Good morning. My name is Carolyn Peters, and I am the mayor of Clinton. And I'm here today to express my support for the low carbon portfolio standard because it will help maintain Illinois' existing nuclear energy plants, which provide enormous benefits to the state, its families, and its communities. Illinois nuclear plants are the economic lifeblood of our communities, and the workers who are employed at these plants help support other industries, including hospitality, construction, and manufacturing. Exelon's Clinton nuclear plant has operated since 1987, and it's been constantly upgraded with the latest technology to provide us with the reliable, safe energy that our community and our state depends upon. Most of the Clinton plant's approximately 700 employees live in the area. They are our neighbors and our friends. They volunteer in our community, they attend our schools, and they are the patrons of our local businesses. The 6 Illinois Exelon nuclear facilities and their headquarters employ nearly 6,000 full-time workers at an average salary of over $105,000 a year. These are obviously good-paying, highly skilled jobs that won't be easily replaced if the plants close, and as has been mentioned before. In addition to the permanent workforce in my community, Clinton Power Station also employs several hundred additional temporary contractors when they refuel the plant. These contractors further boost our local economy during their stay. The Clinton Power Station is the largest taxpayer in DeWitt County, contributing nearly $13 million annually in taxes. Thousands of Illinois employees work round the clock to keep these plants running safely, efficiently, and reliably so that there's power when we need it. But that's in peril, as 3 of these plants, which includes the Clinton Power Station, face a very real threat of being closed prematurely. I believe this is not just idle talk from Illinois nuclear plant operators. 2 other plants, the Kewaunee Nuclear Facility in Wisconsin and Vermont Yankee in Vermont, have already closed for the same reason our plants are threatened. When the Kewaunee nuclear plant closed in 2013, it had a tremendous effect on the local economy. When the door shut, the local host county witnessed a loss of 15% of its jobs and 30% of its tax revenue. Our communities cannot afford such a loss. The time has come for action. The men and women of the General Assembly who are tasked with safeguarding our state's future must act now to prevent the catastrophic premature closure of our nuclear plants. I urge their strong support of the low carbon portfolio standard. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite up Christopher White from GE Hitachi Nuclear Energy.
Thank you and good morning. I'm Christopher White. I'm Vice President of Communications for GE Hitachi Nuclear Energy. I was a longtime supporter of Illinois' clean nuclear energy facilities. GE's nuclear division is proud of our tremendously positive impact on the economy and environment in the state. You've heard a lot about the economic impacts from a year-round basis. I'd like to provide a little detail on those temporary workers that Mayor Peters spoke about earlier. Over the past 2 years alone, approximately 600 nuclear experts have come to Illinois to support Exelon's nuclear operations, and their impact can't be overstated. Over that time, these highly trained experts have spent approximately $5 million in local hotels, local restaurants, and other local establishments. In addition to the direct economic impact that these workers had, they also contribute approximately $500,000 to state income taxes. I am pleased to be here today to express our support of the low carbon portfolio standard, which can both help preserve existing plants while also recognizing the importance of other low carbon emitting generation options. The low carbon portfolio standard will allow our company, GE Hitachi, to continue to grow our operations here and to provide clean energy and significant economic and environmental impacts. Thank you.
And Finally, we'd like to finish up with Joseph Dominguez from Exelon.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Joe Dominguez. I'm Senior Vice President for Public Policy for Exelon. I'm honored to be here with Representatives Walsh and Trine as they introduced this bill this morning, House Bill 3293. I also want to recognize Senators Matty Hunter and Senator Rezin for their support for a similar piece of legislation that will be introduced in the Senate. Finally, I want to thank the other speakers and recognize Roberto Escalante. Roberto is the Chief Operating Officer of the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And his presence here reflects the fact that these plants and the jobs at these plants are not only important to the geographies of the state, but they're important to all the communities of the state, provide valuable opportunities for Latinos and other people of color in the state. This legislation will help clean the air. It will ensure a robust low-carbon economy. It will ensure that tens of thousands of jobs stay in Illinois. It will power Illinois for decades into the future, and it will maintain Illinois' position as the #1 producer of zero-carbon electricity in the United States. And that bears repeating. The most important commodity in this country today is zero-carbon electricity. And the state that produces most of it is not Texas, it's not California, it's not Washington, other big energy producers. It's produced here in Illinois, and nuclear power is the main reason why we are the national leader. Over 90% of the clean energy in this state comes from the state's nuclear power plants. And the good news for Illinois families and businesses is we can maintain this advantage and grow it. The vast majority of Americans believe that an all-of-the-above strategy, like the one discussed today, that includes hydro, wind, solar, nuclear, biomass, clean fossil fuels, are the recipe for dealing with climate change and lowering harmful emissions in the atmosphere. And this bill takes that common sense approach and puts it into policy action by creating a competitive landscape where all of these technologies compete against each other for the right to serve clean energy to Illinois customers. Now, the standard that is being introduced today is technology neutral. That means it is not designed to favor any one technology against the other, and as I said, allows them to compete against each other. I think this should put to bed, finally, claims that Exelon is looking for $580 million or that Exelon is looking for a specific bailout for nuclear energy. The only thing Exelon has asked for is the right to compete on the same playing field that all other zero-carbon resources presently compete with each other in Illinois. Now, the fact that we have had an unlevel playing field, the fact that nuclear has not heretofore been allowed to compete, is one of the reasons that we face challenges in the nuclear industry today, and you've heard about the plants that are in jeopardy. As I said, the state's plants produce over 90% of the clean electricity and over 50% of the energy used in Illinois. They provide about 6,000 jobs here in the state, and they support 28,000 jobs statewide. State reports that have been done as part of a response to the Illinois resolution, House resolution from last year, demonstrate that the value of these plants from an economic standpoint is $1.8 billion per year. Their value in keeping prices low has been measured by the grid operators to be hundreds of millions of dollars in addition to that in both northern and southern Illinois, and billions of dollars of additional monies are involved in the clean attributes that these provide, lessening, in effect, the cost of compliance with new carbon regimes that are coming out of EPA. Now, the other piece of this legislation that you'll see as you look at it more carefully is that it contains some first-of-its-kind consumer protections. First, it embraces the 2% rate cap that has been successfully used in other programs that support renewable energy specifically, clean coal specifically, and energy conservation. That consumer protection cap is also in this bill. But we go further than that. The bill has a sunset provision after 5 years or when Illinois adopts a more robust carbon policy. And it also provides for a reimbursement mechanism that would require winning bidders for these low carbon credits to return the monies they got from the state if energy prices unexpectedly rise. We think the addition of these consumer protections already is felt and will be felt in making this the most successful program. The cost benefits, if you look at all of the benefits of keeping the plants around versus the cost of this program, mean that we will receive $10 in benefits for every dollar spent. So we are proud to be here today. It is the beginning of a discussion on this bill with other policymakers. We urge the General Assembly and other policymakers to look at it very carefully and act on it promptly, as it is a matter that requires urgent action. Thank you. We will take questions from the media at
Spell
this
your
point.
name, please. D-O-M-I-N-G-E-Z.
Yes.
And your title again?
I'm Senior